Let's get to Deandre Swift, though, because this one I think is an interesting player in fantasy, Matthew.
Yeah.
Here's the reason why. On ability, he's there. He's right there, right?
Sure.
In terms of opportunity, he should be right there as well. They did sign Jamal Williams. We'll talk about him in a moment, but it seems clear that Deandre Swift is going to be the guy up front in this backfield. Talented guy, young player, all those things. Good offensive line. The scare, I think,
should be a run-heavy scheme as well. Again, Anthony Lynn is the new offense coordinator, former head coach of the Chargers, former NFL running back, and somebody that has, at least in stops in Buffalo and with the Chargers as a play caller or a head coach, has liked to use multiple running backs but also run the ball a lot. Yeah,
sure.
And obviously had a ton of success with Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler with the Chargers.
So I think the concern people have is just like, if this team isn't going to be very good, does that limit the upside of Deandre Swift, and how much so? If they're forced into passing game situations, are we going to have an offense that might be 60-40 Deandre Swift versus Jamal Williams? Is that fair criticism or fair concern?
I think it's fair concern, but it's not one that I buy because DeAndre Swift is a good pass catcher. So I think Swift and Williams, you'll see both guys. I don't think it's going to be one of those things where Swift is always the first and second down back, and Williams is always the third down back. I think both guys are versatile. I think you could possibly see both guys in the backfield at one point as well. So, DeAndre Swift had 66 catches last year.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. His projections are 66 catches this year, I should say. He didn't have – I was like –
He did not last year. No,
yeah,
he was okay as a pass catcher.
Yes. And so, I don't know. So, I'm more a believer in the talent and the opportunity than I am the concern about it's just not going to be a good team.
Yeah, really, really talented guy. And if he had gone in the first round last year, no one would have batted an eyelash. And he could be, if he was in a different spot right now, we might be talking about him in a much, much different vein.
We talked about this when he got drafted. Had he been drafted by the
City?
Chiefs instead of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, we'd have been talking about him as a top 10 player last year.
Right.
Like we would have, because he's that kind of talented.
Sure. Very, very talented guy. Let's just hope that they're competitive enough offensively they can finish off some drives. That being said.
But we all think he's a mid-tier RB2, except for Daniel has him at RB12.
I do.
Squirrel.
I do have him at RB12.
You have him as basically a borderline RB1.
I do. I have him towards the back half of the first round for me, and if you're talking about a 12-team league. And I love the idea that offensive line has been beefed up quite a bit this year. Obviously, Frank Ragnow's incredible. Being able, no offense to Cincinnati and not being able to grab a tackle, but I was very glad that Penei Sewell fell to us, and I think he's going to be fantastic. If there's one thing on that offense that the Lions have the ability to work on, that offensive line is something that they can work with. And so I'm hoping from that standpoint, you'll have some good running lanes for both DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams, to be honest.
And let's talk about Jamal Williams one step further, because we know this much. When he got opportunities in Green Bay, he was really good.
Yep.
But even when he didn't get opportunities to be the man, he was still good. He's a very, very talented pass catcher. And I know that sometimes we can overthink these things or put too much stock into them, but it's clear he's a spark plug for this offense right away, like for this team in general, right? He's an emotional sort of tone setter for Detroit. I think he's going to play a lot in Detroit. He's one of my favorite values, Matthew. He's going as an RB4, which I think is a good spot for him to be in. I don't know that you can ever, if you go zero RB strategy, I'm not going as low as Jamal Williams as a starter, but I think he's a really useful bench piece.
I think he's a really useful bench piece. I agree as well. His ADP is running back 40, which means he's going as a running back 5. Wow. I'm at running back 34. I'm the highest on it. You have him at 38, so you're a few spots behind me as well. But we both have him ahead of consensus. We both really like the player. I agree with you. When he has gotten an opportunity, he has produced. We talk about this, the Schefter thing, follow the money. Jamal Williams got paid this offseason. They
2 years, $7.5 million.
Yeah, in a market that was somewhat depressed for running backs, Jamal Williams got a nice little contract there, left Green Bay, and I think there's a negativity towards Jamal Williams just because Aaron Jones is so good. It's not a crime to be not as good as Aaron Jones. Right? And Jamal Williams...
The Packers took Jamal Williams one round ahead of Aaron Jones back when they drafted him out of BYU 4 years ago.
They like Jamal Williams quite a bit, I think, and we've heard Anthony Lynn and others around the Lions talk up Jamal Williams. I agree with you. I don't think he's just, quote, insurance for DeAndre Swift. I think he has a legitimate flex ability in a deeper league, and obviously if anything were to happen to Swift, he would easily be a top 12 running back. So I agree with you. I think he's one of my favorite flyers this year, and somebody that a really good sleeper and somebody that made the love list. He was on the love list.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.